right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, wherever you're tuning in. We'll be covering our quarterly webinar from the solutions team. So today we'll be accelerating your use cases. I have myself from the solutions team, Morgan Russell, pronouns are they, them, and I'm joined by our project manager, Ellie DeSantis, here to guide us through this topic. So thanks everybody for joining. We'll kick it right off. So first, before we dive into our fun content, I want to talk about some upcoming events that we have. So we have the product roadmap bi-weekly, and that's every other Thursday at 11 a.m. to noon Eastern Standard. Join us as the Decisions product team shares the future of the Decisions no-code intelligent automation platform, where we'll explore the recent platform improvements and preview new features that are coming soon. After that, we also have an additional free webinar coming up that is the no-code with a human touch process mining for the end user success, upcoming Tuesday, July 25th from 1 to 2 Eastern. I will explore how interviewing end users, stakeholders, and project owners while leveraging process mining can unlock valuable insights for re-envisioning your projects and processes, leading to optimal automation outcomes. And you can register for both of these events, just like you registered for this one, if you did, through decisions.com/events. Then our big deep dive training, we have Submerse coming up in August, December. Ooh, that's too far, too many months. We can't skip Halloween. August 8th through 10th in Colorado. And then in APAC, August 29th through 31st at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Australia. So that's a very exciting event that we'll have the following month. And we have 2 learning tracks available there, an introductory course called Foundation and a mastery level class for advanced users. And you can learn something new even if you're experienced in decisions or if you're brand new, with those 2 options that we have available in those locations. All right, very cool. More information on that, you can always go to that at decisions.com/events if I covered that poorly. So all news go there for sure. So for today, we're going to go through what and why are decisions accelerators, what's currently released in our Decisions App Store. We're going to demo some of the recently released ones. And then we're going to show you how to get access to those that are currently out and available. And then lastly, we are going to talk about what's coming up next in quarter 3 and quarter 4 of the good year of 2023. So diving right in, we've got our beautiful team. We're kind of small, but not as small as some teams. We still got some that are smaller, but we're a cross team of locations. So we've got members from world headquarters over here in Virginia, as well as Hyderabad in the Global Operations Center. And we're championed by our wonderful VP of Customer Experience, Will Pedersen here. So a little bit about the solutions team, what we're building. We're building the accelerators. So what are accelerators and what are we trying to do as the solutions engineering team? So our team is dedicated to building applications and projects that help everyone in the decisions community, meaning decisions developers work at decisions developers that are at other customers, our end users, front end. As our team of experts, we kind of put together use cases that can help people in cross-industry things, as well as just difficult things to build in decisions. The solutions team delivers projects that address all these different pain points that are available, that come up in multitude of industries, as well as just building in decisions itself, potentially. So really, we're trying to target using our best practices, addressing those pain points in an industry to make it easier, solving that problem once and getting it out versus sending it to everybody. So in order to do that and address those pain points, we created accelerators. So what are decisions accelerators? They are smaller projects that are built in a generic fashion that allow a user to download them from the App Store and they showcase what's possible in decisions. So you can see, okay, we've built these examples of what you can do in decisions, as well as giving you an example. You can dive right into that code and understand how that was built. Like we said, they're pre-built microservices. They're all built using decisions best practices. So we have descriptions on flows. You've got unit tests in there that you can do. So if you do change something, you can verify that change that you've done and how it was working previously. And why did we build these? Again, main point of that, addressing the pain points in development, allowing things to be kickoff points for cross industry, delivering valuable applications that you'd otherwise need to be purchased or commit time to developing. So things that we see built very often or built repetitively by different customers or that we're using ourselves. Those are things that we like to make into accelerators. So we package that up. This is one process. You don't have to rebuild it. It's right there for you to use, kind of build from or learn from. So you can start a new project from it. So you already have decisions in another industry or another use case, but now you can see, oh, we do easily do onboarding. You have an example here that you can go from. And that result, you're speeding your time to value. So accelerating your time to value there, hence the name. And so next we're going to go into what's released in the App Store. I'm going to hand it over to Allie.
Thanks so much, Morgan. So let's talk about what is released in our App Store. First off, in our financial services focused accelerators, we launched our loan calculators to assist in commonly used complex formulas in the lending, finance, and loan servicing industries. We also released a wire transfer approval application, which uses integrations with critical databases such as OFAC and core banking systems to authenticate and verify transactions in order to comply with regulations such as BSA or anti-money laundering. The application streamlines transaction management to ensure that compliance is met and reduce risk when sending domestic and international wires. And then we also launched a scorecard wizard, which allows for customizable rules and weights to optimize decisioning and underwriting. The accelerator can also be adapted for any industry, so you can use it for cross, looking to evaluate any source of data and then produce a recommendation in the decisioning process.
Awesome. Additionally to those fintech focused builds that we have in the App Store, we also have some cross-industry ones. So continuing those release projects, these are already available. We have digital ads, the digital ads optimization tool. This project ties together Salesforce and Google Ads to allow a user to easily quantify their leads and determine what they want to train that Google Ads algorithm to say, this is a qualified lead, it's not a qualified lead, this is what I want you to show more of, and it connects to your Salesforce leads and pulls those down. So that's some of the dashboards we have over here. Additionally, we have the asset manager application, which allows the user to create different asset types and define actions that get triggered when entity events happen for those different types. So every single asset type will have its own creation flow, update flow, and delete flow. So if you want something to happen on that delete, it orientates that for you from a nice, easy to use wizard there. In addition, you can easily create scheduled jobs if you're tracking that particular asset type around that metric. And then lastly, of the ones we're highlighting here, we have the revision automated testing. This project is geared more towards developers. It's less out of the box, ready to use. It will require, for sure, development on putting in and connecting up a process that you're testing. So this one allows you to drop in a main flow that is kind of your logic or synchronous flow that you're processing, pull in a bunch of data, connect your input flow, and then run that same batch of inputs through your main logic and compare the outputs. It allows you to easily view those different metrics that you're tracking on the output of your main flow that you're looking at. So our example that comes with it out of the box is a loan software. So you're pulling in a bunch of loans and you're wanting to process and check those, basically like an underwriting, very simplified example of an underwriting system with checking a credit score and saying whether or not you're going to auto approve or deny. It comes out of the box with it. Our little screenshot here with the JSON pictures there is an example. When you create a flow that's asking you for, it's going to come with some key instructions on what to do with that. A little more complicated, but definitely very useful. Again, that one is envisioned to be put into use in a testing environment or your dev environment. So getting right into it, we're going to dive into the demos of 3 other accelerators that are released. Let me know if you have questions during, or we can pause afterwards. Either way is good. To get started, we're going to go ahead and look at Access Manager. No. See if I can click it. You know what? We probably just changed the link there with the icon. So give me one moment to pull that up. Ooh. Sorry about that. We did some good styling here for us. But Access Manager, what this project does, it's one of our less flashy design-wise of our builds. But what it does is a really nice utility for us. Let me go ahead and resume share. So y'all should be able to see now my decisions environment. We've got Access Manager, excuse me. This one is essentially a set of pages and dashboards that a user can go to. You define the user that you want to have access to the Access Manager view, and it gives them a bunch of reports and pages that shows who has permissions in your environment. So if you're ever needing to lock down something, check what accounts have access where. This is a great tool for that. Kind of expands on the regular system folders, accounts, and groups that are available out of the box in Decisions. So you could download this from the App Store and then kind of see, okay, what are all the groups? Who's in that group? What is it? Any linked groups to that? You have tabs to look at all the groups, the main group accounts, any linked group accounts. You have a place for account impersonations, very useful for testing. You want to see, okay, you know, I gave my own account permission to impersonate test user 1, but I don't want that to last forever. So I want that to time out. This will let you show if any of your impersonations are expiring, who has permissions to impersonate your account or any other accounts. You can see that to check to make sure your impersonations are what you want them to be. Same thing, account relations. If you have anything hooked up in your system to say, okay, this person is tied to this other account as a manager, you'd be able to see this here. Who has accessible folders, depending on what views. You can look at the group folder access right here. And then the main big dashboard has the permissions access. That's when you can see what groups have access, what projects they're tied to. We have some best practices noted at the top saying that your group permissions, you want them to be tied to a project generally, so that when you export it, that group stays with it and those permissions carry. Alternatively, with an account, you generally do not want an account permission tied to a project because you don't want those permissions locked into a single user versus a group where you can add and move accounts to it. So just defines that up top. Folder permission inheritance. If you're ever not sure which folder you've toggled on and off for permission inheritance, you could come and see, oh, from my apps folder, what are the folders that are inheriting those permissions? And you can see that there. And lastly, you have a dashboard of recent changes. This lets you see what things were recently updated or done in your environment by those users. So that's Access Manager. Next, let me just navigate directly, since that link was having a sad time. CSS Generator. So this is our UI-centric accelerator. The CSS, for those of you who don't know, is cascading style sheets. So that lets you put a nice coat of paint and style your UI, used in other tools as well as Decisions, but Decisions uses it to style forms, dashboards, whatever a user is going to be interacting with, you can apply that CSS sheet to. So when we go ahead and run our CSS generator here, we'll see it's a guided series of forms that lets a user entirely create a brand new CSS sheet without having to know CSS as a language. So we're going to go ahead and create a new one for us today. So let me call it webinar. You can pick the form background. If we're looking at this form, this one's gray. So if we wanted it to match, we could pick that same gray. You can pick your font color, the primary color of what you're looking at. Let's do Let's do a nice green as a primary color. Font color, we'll keep black, and we'll do a secondary color. As you go through these fields, you can apply defaults for some of them. So brace off your previous selections, it'll fill it out. You can select on your form fields what you want those particular forms to look like. Here you have that preview there. You can select a default font size for them. If you only want that one line on the bottom, the width of the border, if it's got rounded corners or not. Some headers, so it's a CSS class you can apply. We go ahead and also apply our defaults here for your button styling. You can make them all caps very easily. The weight, if you want it bold or not, rounded corners, and what pixels, the amount rounded you would like. Background color of that button, let's have it match. We'll put a green on it. Hover color, let's do, I think, what did we do? Purple for our secondary color. And secondary, we did a darker purple. And secondary hover can be a light green. Maybe not everybody's style choice, but you could customize it to what you want it to look like here on the side. So we're doing a fun kind of lily pad flower looking here. Next, you have CSS that it comes with what it'll generate for you some tiles. So if you want to display information on a page or dashboard here, you can use the styles that come with it as your tiles, and you can preview what that'll look like here and easily change and adjust the font for tile styles that it'll generate for you. Once you have all that, you then get a preview of your created style sheet. You say, hey, do I like this? Do I not? Do I want to go back and change it? You can hit previous and change any of those fields that we selected to make alterations to what you want it to look like. But if you like it, you can go ahead and either download the file, which just downloads it to your computer in your browser, or you can directly save it to the server if you're running in decisions, and that creates the CSS in your environment in the correct folder in the system. What is it? Designers CSS folder for you to use then and apply in your environment. So next, using that CSS that we just created, we're going to demo the dynamic questionnaire. Give me one moment as I just pull that up for us. So dynamic questionnaire, as you can tell by the name, it's a system that allows the user to create questionnaires or surveys, adding and removing questions, editing them, and actually send those out and tracking the responses that we get back from there. So here we are looking at our questionnaire template manager. So you'll create a template first, and then from that template, you'll launch a live questionnaire, which is actually going to be able to be answered and filled out. So just to walk through an example, we're going to create a new questionnaire template. Let's do an onboarding survey to a team, and category, something you can use for kind of organization, just know what it is. You've got hover text here on a lot of these forms, or help text, so that there's additional information if you need. Our styles sheet selection here, that's where we're going to be able to actually select that one. I remember what I called it. Yes, webinar demo. So that's going to apply at runtime the style sheet that we just created in our previous. And we're going to go ahead and put what email style template you want it to look like. So I'll pick the default. And then our text box below is the body of the email before the link that will be sent to any recipients when the questionnaire is launched in a live questionnaire. Give it a sample bit there. There's additional information for currency symbol. If you want a progress bar or not, lots of customization available. Give it our description. Now that we've created it, we can add questions for that survey. It'll guide you through and gives you some helpful information. There's some help text here as well. We go ahead and hit add. We can provide the question text, which is the actual verbiage that'll be displayed above the control to the user. So if the question text is, what is your start date? Is your start date? You can decide whether or not it's that required or not, meaning they can skip it, leave it blank. And then from the first dropdown, you can select what kind of question it is, what type of question, which really determines the control and how it looks to the end user. So what is your start date? We want a date question. We can do it without time. Over here to the side, we have the set number and order number. The set number, you can kind of think of it as what page you're looking at. So before I hit next, that's set 1, go to next, you're now on set 2. The order is exactly how it sounds. It's the order that those questions show up on that particular set. So we're going to go and add this one. And let's now add another one, full name as a question. All these options here that you're seeing as different question types, they come out of the box with the dynamic questionnaire right from the App Store. You can create new ones. We do have documentation out for that, as well as folders that are organized nicely so that if you do want to create an additional question type, you're able to do that. So we have full and middle name are in order 2, so that would be our second question. So once we define our questions, we can drill into that. So we just made our onboarding survey. So if I drill into that onboarding surveys dashboard, this is that template dashboard specifically for the one we created. We have a preview of what that questionnaire will look like as we are building it. So it lets us know and adjust, oh, I want this question first or not, and how it behaves as well. So if we hit submit, we can see that this one is required, but this one is also required. So you can see how those elements will come up. So if we fill in information for us, we can see those validations go away when we go to hit submit. Right now, there's just directly to the submit button because we only have one set. So if we want to go ahead and add some more questions, let's go ahead and do a drop down. These are in alphabetical order. So if we're talking about an onboarding, we can say, what team are you joining? And we'll make that required. And we'll put it in set 1, question 3. And options, any type of question that you're selecting from a list and you need that list to be selected by that user. It'll provide you this options box. The order that you type them in here is how it's going to display to the user. So we'll do training, sales, and PS. So once we got those options in, same thing, we go ahead and add it. Well, now we want to have a question that's a kind of a follow-up question to the other one, and we'll want a dependency to tie between them. So what part of HR are you joining? So that's our question here, and it'll just be a simple text box. We're not sure on the options that could change there on what kind of things are in HR. And we'll have that as our second set, question 4. And we'll make it. And let's edit this one to also be in the second set for us. We'll go ahead and create those. And now we're going to tie a dependency between them. So those questions are on the second set. So once we fill this one out, hit next, we can see the preview of the next one. Right now with no dependency, this one is always showing. But if we want to only show this if the user selects HR, we can go ahead and add a dependency to it by associating the questions. So here you can add either a parent question or a child question. If you add a parent question to a question, it means that it's a question that we're looking to show the question you're selecting. And a child question is the reverse. So the question I've selected, which part of HR are you joining, is a child question of which team are you joining. So we're going to add a parent. So here in the form, you select the parent question. So it's going to give you a drop-down list of all the questions that came before. And we're going to select the which team are you joining. And then for the custom rule, you can select if you already have an existing one that is similar, such as answer is PS, if we are looking at PS team. But if not, you go ahead and create a new one. So that's what we're going to do here quickly, is we just create a new rule. So this one is answer is HR. So this is creating a new rule that's going to tie to that question as a dependency. It's using a design pattern, so your inputs and outputs are locked in, so you can't, mess up what you're looking at here to help with the flow of runtime select for these rules. So our answer string, we know we want to define it as is HR. as a simple example, but you could add more conditions here as needed. Determine that visibility. So we'll go ahead and close that one and jump back over to our view here and add it and save that dependency. So now we have our new icon that shows, hey, this one has a question dependency, and we can check that behavior. We put in our start date, we put in our name. We go to next. So with nothing filled in that what team are you joining, we don't have any follow-up question until you select that you're joining something. It's going to check to see if that answer matches running that rule. If it says, yep, it's HR, it'll then show us this question and we can fill it out for us. So that is the creating of it. Once you have your template kind of ready to go, you can then go ahead and create a live questionnaire. So if you create a live questionnaire, it asks you for the similar information, the title of it, some more details, say the contact email, which is going to be who it gets sent from, description. Additionally, you have the assigned Boolean, whether it's assigned or not. If it is unassigned, it's kind of just a link that you could turn into a QR code, post somewhere up to scan or give it to whoever is needed. If you know you want to send this survey to a specified list of people, you can assign it and you'll have an expiration is required for that, which we have a scheduled job that goes and closes any expired live questionnaires. And again, you can change and update your webinar, change your style sheet and email template, and you can define a due date just for tracking measures there. So instead of launching this one, we're going to actually go over and look at one that is already launched from the live template. And just to show you it in template form, it's going to be this Accelerator survey here that we've got, which I will send out, which I made just earlier today with the project. So we're going to go into the live one since I just launched it. I think it's this one as the webinar. We drill into its page. So this is the live view. Before it gets launched, it's under construction. You can see that status there is under construction. You've got the number of days till expiration, the completed responses. Since it's not launched yet, we don't have it anywhere. From this view, you have the ability to test it either in the portal or through an email, which you'll just specify where it gets sent to. And you can see the behavior of your form and how it would react. So we're going to go ahead and launch this survey. It's going to come from accelerators@decisions.com, which is where you can reach us if you have any questions or additional feedback. And I'm putting an expiration for 7/8, if that sounds good, Allie. And we'll go ahead and launch that for us. And now with it launched, we have some new actions up top. You can get the link and QR code as well as add recipients. If you know, hey, I want to email it to these specific people, you could hit add recipients and add those email lists there. But if you wanted to directly send it as the link, you could hit the get link and QR code. So the QR code module that Decisions has, able to be downloaded also from the My Apps folder, is a prereq for this project. So since it runs it here, makes that QR code in-house in a Decisions flow. You can scan that, it runs the same thing. You can download it or just copy that text. So I'm going to copy that text. I'm going to paste it in the chat. So if anybody wants to fill out that survey, and I'm going to also fill it out as a test on my screen so we can look to see what it looks like with some results. Since it's an unassigned questionnaire, it's always going to ask the user to put in their email so that we have a record of who filled that out. Let me go ahead and do that. And I'll start the survey. Let me fill this out real quick at another zone as we navigate back over there. But let's see, on our live questionnaire, once it's launched, you can view all the different questions that are filled in. That comes out of the box with this one. You can see what question sets are, if there's any dependencies there, just like you could on the template view. And then you can view the results as well. So once we have a filled out survey, which I just did, you can see data populate here. as well as on the CSV editor here, which shows you the answers that were unfortunately, I filled it out quickly, so we don't have too many great answers here, but we do have that one. It also shows when somebody started it. So it'll show records as someone's moving through it because they can always save and continue. When they do hit save and continue from an unassigned, it sends them an email letting them know, here's your link so that you can continue from where you left off. This can be downloaded as a Excel, so you can use it elsewhere if you want this data, similar to Google Forms and such other surveys there. And that's all of it. At the top, you've got, it'll update your KPIs to say, okay, who's completed it, who's starting it, what's the average time to complete, and such there. So if you have time, we'll send this this link out later, but you can also fill it out as we're going through the rest of it. But I think that's the rest of our demo. So let me go back to our beautiful slides. And I will pass it back. Let me see real quick. We got up next for us. I'll pass it back to Allie for it.
Awesome, Morgan. Thank you so much. Those are super helpful for accelerating our customers' projects. If anyone has any questions about any of the Accelerator projects or are interested in a personalized demo of anything that we talked about today, let us know. We'd love to hear your feedback. So now we're going to take a peek at one of our new initiatives and how the decisions community can benefit.
And other things that are coming up next, we're going to look also at our cross-industry accelerators, ones we didn't demo that are currently in progress or in queue to begin. So ticketing application, system application, it's a bigger project that lets a user tie in an inbox that they're monitoring for incoming tickets and ticket queue creation. You can create multiple of these. You can have queues per a ticket box. This is based off of our internal use case of IT tickets, DT tracking tickets, as well as support tickets. So very similar build there that we are taking and improving and defining best practices with and documenting as we go. So it includes things such as a scheduled job to monitor that email inbox, the main part of it, checking to see any kind of unread emails, turning those into tickets in the system to track them. We have reports and date range filters, KPIs reports, can coordinate shifts and assignments of those tickets to get completed in a timely manner, as well as overall exception handling. Additionally, we have the Playbook Manager application in queue. This one is integrating with Salesforce. It combines decisions, workflows with talking to Salesforce tasks. It's a list of activities that get completed for a particular topic. So, for example, creating a new customer, that playbook would involve something along the lines of creating an account, sending that welcome email, and kind of kicking off those things that need to be completed via Salesforce. Now I'll hand it over to Allie to talk about the community and decisions marketplace that are coming up.
Great. Thanks so much, Morgan. Yeah, so we're going to be launching a community website. It's going to house several resources with a focus on the needs of our community, such as upcoming events, training, our newsletters, our forum, our documentation site, and then a new marketplace to share projects built using decisions. The marketplace is going to showcase those projects built by our decisions community, where users can download or purchase applications from different contributors. The marketplace will give a community a central location to find projects and use cases, and contributors will be granted exclusive access to resources, tools, and support, and be able to increase their own brand awareness to a highly engaged audience. There are going to be a ton of cool features, like links to each of the contributors' websites, self-managed portals for contributors to gain valuable insights and feedback from the community. They'll be able to manage their application's performances, respond to requests for more information and improvements, and connect with users in real time. The expected launch of the website is going to be about mid to late summer, so be sure to keep a watch for more information leading up to that launch. So where can you get access to these accelerators and more? All of the accelerators are available at no additional cost for V8 and newer platform users. They're located in the Decisions Studio in the My Apps folder. And they all come with thorough documentation and YouTube videos. You can also join Morgan and I quarterly for our webinars and review what's new. We really appreciate everyone coming today. We'd love to get your feedback. Let us know what you would like to see in the App Store, how we can help you implement into your use cases. Make sure you download the accelerators once you're in the App Store. And if you want to schedule a deeper dive, you can email us at accelerators@decisions.com, or you can reach out directly to your customer success manager. And then also be sure to fill out our questionnaire that you saw during the dynamic questionnaire demo. It's posted in the chat, and then we're going to send it out to you following today's webinar. We're going to open it up to the audience if anyone has any questions. And thanks again, Morgan, for all the hard work on the demo side.
No problem. The questionnaire is the fun part, so I had a good time building it, and hope everybody
Everybody loves
it.
the questionnaire. It's super helpful. You can use it in so many different ways, and really will reduce the amount of time creating all those different questions to send out for different industries and different departments.
Yeah, I really like the styling of it. The dependency elements are really nice. Building this survey that we sent out, I had a good time, like really building like this is a real survey versus others. It does come out of the box with a cybersecurity one. It's not something I like fill out regularly. So versus this one being like a target audience, like, hey, what's your feedback? Easier for my brain to be like, yes, this is exactly how someone would use this.
Yeah, and also the CSS generator can't overstate how helpful that is for folks that are looking to style their forms quickly without knowing too much about how to do it. You can really put a kind of consistent feel to everything that you're putting out. So super helpful, and appreciate the team's work on those.
Absolutely, love CSS generator. Just a little bit of styling goes a long way for sure.
We do have a question. Does the CSS generator write CSS that will affect the new simple forms, or does it only affect regular forms?
So it can affect simple forms. Some of the classes are the same, so it's generally geared toward regular forms. The buttons, the main button text does apply to it. You have to apply a particular class on it. I think it's like DPS buttons that you can apply if you're trying to put that same style on the button UI on a simple form. But overall, it's on regular forms here.
So if there's no other questions, then Morgan and I can wrap it up. Again, you can email us at accelerators@decisions.com. Let us know what you would like to see in the App Store that will help you accelerate your use cases, your projects, something that you might find helpful. We love ideas, and we love hearing from you guys on how we can help you better. Thanks so much.
Thanks, everybody. Y'all have a great day.